Welcome to Doug in Exile. I'm sitting out here in the middle of a lovely cow pasture with my buddies hanging out here. I am keeping an extra hard look for the bull, the alpha bull. He could show up and we could cut this episode off real quick.
It's the Doug Show, Doug Show, Doug Show. It's the Doug Show, Doug Show, Doug Show.
Anyways, this is a shout out to my happy patriots. Sorry for the bad audio. This is about as good as we're gonna get, but I thought I'd give you the news. Just the important news for my happy patriots. First, we're going to start out with this tweet by Trump. He says the United States did not attend the G20 in South Africa because the South African government refuses to acknowledge or address the horrific human rights abuses endured by Afrikaners and other descendants of Dutch, hey, to Naples a Dutch name, the French, and German settlers. Ooh, the German, I have a lot of German in me too, but I try not to talk about it. To put it more bluntly, they are killing white people. Who? Someone is looking out for the white people and randomly allowing their farms to be taken from them. Perhaps worst of all, the soon-to-be out-of-business New York Times and fake news media won't issue a word against this genocide. This is also another reason why I think Elon Musk is influencing this administration. You know, Elon Musk is a South Africaner, and so he might have a special inside to Trump's ear as there's a massive white genocide going on there. That's why all the liars and pretenders of the radical left media are going out of business. At the conclusion of G20, South Africa refused to hand off the G20 presidency to a senior representative from our US embassy who attended the closing ceremony. Therefore, at my discretion, South Africa will not be receiving an invitation to be at the 2026 G20, which will be hosted in the great city of Miami, Florida next year. South Africa has demonstrated to the world they aren't a country worthy of membership anywhere, and we're going to stop all payments and subsidies to them effective immediately. Thank you for your attention on this matter. This is why those subsidies are so important, so that we can actually pull it from them. Now, let me go on to another piece of news. This goes into the Democrats that called the military to disobey orders. They said unlawful orders, but we all know what they meant. Okay, this was posted from this lovely African-American service member, Jennifer Ruth Green, on those illegal orders, mocking the left, saying Trump uniquely should be rebelled from for his unlawful orders. And we have an unlawful order right here from Joe Biden. I just want to point out that thousands of service members who refused the quote-unquote illegal order from Joe Biden that forced them to get the COVID vaccine were fired without their benefits, and Democrats were perfectly okay with it. I like this line of reasoning. You do now know Democrats do not care when they claim to care about the military and that they're going to be following unlawful Trumpy orders. They never meant it. They never cared. And now it's time for a sane word to my happy patriots who know that Medicare annual enrollment is right now. For some crazy reason, you haven't called my friends at Chapter for help. The call is free, and they're here to get you the right plan, not like many other Medicare brokers that just get you into some lame scam plan that makes them the most money. Look, one of my happy patriots sent me this. I called Chapter last Sunday afternoon, and immediately my call was answered. The young lady was very cordial and answered my questions. She didn't find a better plan available for me that I qualify for. I was very pleased, and she gave me her number in case I have need of more information. Thanks, Doug. See, Chapter is here to help. They don't just try to milk you for money. They're honest, and I trust them. For the best in helping you compare Medicare plans, call Chapter at 631-961-8696. That's 631-961-8696. And tell them Doug in Exile sent you. Now, back to our show. Okay, next up, that female National Guards woman who was shot succumbed to her injuries after being worked on. So now Jeanine Pirro is ramping up the charges to murder. Here's Jeanine Pirro on Fox earlier today.
Are we going to see an escalation in charges? Oh, there's no question. First of all, our hearts go out and our thoughts and prayers go out to the family of a beautiful 20-year-old Sarah Beckstrom who answered the call to serve her nation, and she volunteered. And
this goes first, guys, because she said, first of all, we mourn with the family before we jump to justice and punishment, because punishment isn't going to bring this beautiful 20-year-old service member back. So I'm fine with justice, but it doesn't bring me any peace. She never should have been shot in the first place. We should have even more ramped up security over there when someone can shoot one of our members point blank. Obviously, a refugee from Afghanistan, and Trump, we got to review all of them and send them out if we have to. So first comes mourning before we talk about the charges. Then the charge.
She ended up being shot ambush style on the cold streets of Washington, D.C. By an individual who will now be charged with murder in the first degree. There are certainly many more charges to come, but we are upgrading the initial charges of assault to murder in the first degree. And we are hoping that the more information we can get and the more investigation that is going on 24/7 now, around the clock in Washington, the more we will find out about what actually happened in terms of this individual even being in this country and being in a position to ambush and shoot down an innocent young woman who was doing her duty to the people of this country.
And we thank all of our military for their service, their great service to this country. I just think this really put a dark cloud over this week, and but people are waking up suddenly to what's going on the ground. Here's Amy Klobuchar with her own kind of indiscretion. She claimed Klobuchar's self-report anti-Trump chart accidentally becomes a pro-Trump evidence. She's claiming that energy is more expensive uniquely under Trump. So I'm going to come up with this graphic here. It's very hard to see, but when you're on receipt supposedly, Amy Klobuchar tweeted that electricity prices are surging under Trump, leaving millions behind on utility bills. This is about how fast things can escalate with inflation and how long it takes for them to come back down. One problem is the chart shows past due balances skyrocketing from $600 to nearly $790 between 2022 and 2025. Problem is Trump took office in 2025. So I don't know if you can see this exact graphic, but you can see all these lines here going up to the amount. The vast majority of this inflation came under Biden. Remember, Biden is the one who stopped all oil drilling, stopped us from drilling, stopped us from seeking new energy. That falls under Biden. Okay, next up, you guys have heard me rip on Candace Owens for being truly evil. This is at a recent Charlie Kirk TPUSA event. Pastor John Amanchukwu called Candace Owens evil, and I think we should listen to him because he's coming out in agreement with what most of us think. For those of you who think, oh, Candace Owens, she's just wrong, she's allowed to have her own opinion, quit dogging on her, Doug. No, what she did is what I call evil.
So contrary to what Candace Owens is saying, who's spending her time trying to tear down the legacy of Charlie Kirk, fighting against Erica Kirk, his wife. I mean, you have to be cruel and demonic to insinuate the things that she has insinuated over the past several weeks. She's evil. That's what it is. And a big hand clap goes there. Don't get shy on me tonight. I ain't the one. I came too far to play around.
I agree. I come too far to play around with Candace Owens. She is evil. Exactly. That's very well said. So I'm not mincing words here. I'm saying if you insinuate that Erica Kirk was in on it and Trump was in on it, all these things are in on it, I don't care. And she has no evidence. She never had evidence, guys. I see the long posts in my feed. If you believe this stuff, this is a rescue for your mind to unlatch it from that source. I would never say boycott someone, but I'm just saying be careful where you get your news from. I'm going to do my best to be more careful with all you guys. I'm not trying to get you guys fomented up in fear of conspiracies and dark forces, and even the Democrats, I don't fear. Do you know why I don't fear them? Because I know you, the patriot. I know my people and my audience are incredibly pro-family people, people of faith, people who love this country, people who love and represent and defend the normal. Remember those days? Well, I'm okay with that, but people like Candace Owens, that is not normal, guys. It's not even close. So the good news is Trump calls out South Africa that we're going to end that genocide, and that kind of racism is also abnormal. And on that note, I hope you guys will subscribe. I'm Doug in exile in a field in Cedar Edge, Colorado.